Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we're going to be doing the battle of the cream bronzers, and that is, like the name implies, just basically a battle between the cream bronzers that I have in my collection. I'm going to go over the cream bronzers that I have, rank them with you guys, and basically tell you all about them, like the formula, the price point, the shade, the undertone, and I just thought this would be a helpful video as I have been sort of collecting cream bronzers this year. I now have 6 in my collection, so this isn't going to be half an hour long video, but basically I thought it would be helpful since I know a lot of the cream bronzers that I have in my collection are the ones that are like popular at the moment. People are wondering what the quality is like, what the formula is like, and the shade, so I thought this would be helpful for you guys. But if you are new here, then hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you found it. I upload beauty videos every single week and I would love it if you subscribed. But for now, if you want to see all about my cream bronzers, what they look like and everything, then please keep watching. Also, if you're wondering what is on my eyes, I just filmed this eye look and it is going to be coming in my next video. The quality of that video is not the best. I said in that video that I'm sort of like experimenting with my camera, my lenses, the settings on my camera. Basically, I used to pretty much always film in automatic mode, which I think is pretty bad if you have a camera that is the price point that my camera is. Like, I know with manual settings you can do so much more, but it is sort of like a struggle figuring out what it looks like. But please bear with me while I try to figure out the best settings for my camera so I can deliver the best quality content to you guys. But now let's get started with the bronzers. Basically what I wanted to do for this video was apply every single bronzer to my face and show you guys what it looks like compared and everything. But with working full time and having to leave super early in the morning on the weekdays, I pretty much only get to film on the weekends. That makes it kind of hard to get like multiple shots of me applying bronzers, because on a weekday there's just no way for me to film this type of video at 6 a.m. in the morning. It's way too dark and it just takes too much time when I already have to hurry to go to work. So what I basically did, I'm applying the 2 cream bronzers that I have not featured on my channel yet in terms of applications. So I think the other 4 bronzers I have applied on my face on my channel in some video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up the videos where I'm applying the other bronzers and I will have them linked down below, so you can check out those videos if you want to see what those bronzers look like applied to my face. And then I am going to be swatching them all for this video, so you do get to see what the shade and formula looks like on my arm. But for the other 4 cream bronzers, I am referring you to my other video simply because I just wouldn't be able to apply them all to my face today. So I'm starting off with number 6, which is the Rare Beauty Cream Bronzer Stick in the shade Happy Soul. Now this one came out this year and I picked it up right away because I was so excited for this. Like, when this launched, I knew I really wanted to have this one. I love Rare Beauty, so I really wanted to try it out. This one is one I'm putting at place number 6, and you're probably going to be maybe a little bit surprised because I hear so many people talk about how they find this the best cream bronzer on the market, and I just do not agree. But I think that has to do with the shade. This formula is really nice. It is in a stick form, so it's really easy to apply. It's actually a really creamy product as well. It just looks like this, and as you can probably see already by the shade of this, it is a pretty warm shade. Now the shade Happy Soul is the second to lightest one in the range, so there is one shade that is lighter. I probably should have gone that one, but it looks even warmer, so I thought this one was going to be a little bit more neutral. But I simply am not the biggest fan of the undertone of this bronzer. Now basically what I did as well with these bronzers, I looked at the total grams included in the products, and then I looked at like the retail price and divided it with each other, so we see the price per gram. And the Rare Beauty bronzer retails for 26 euros, and you're actually getting 7 grams of product, which makes this product 3.71 euros per gram. Which, little spoiler alert, this is the most expensive bronzer in today's video when you break it down to price per gram. So I think that is something important to note. For instance, the Tilbury bronzer that launched this year retails for 52 euros, and I saw a lot of people complain about the price, but when you break it down per gram, it's actually not that expensive, while this one is pretty expensive, I find. So let's see what the shade looks like. The shade Happy Soul is definitely more of a warm shade. I would consider it too warm for my liking, which is why I barely reach for it. I have considered decluttering it. So this is what the shade Happy Soul looks like. And as you can see, it's a pretty warm toned bronzer. Now this does blend out really easily. It is a very thin, smooth consistency, so you won't have any issues blending. However, it is just the shade for me, and the shade range in general I find all leaned a little bit warm, which is a downside. I know it's not a contour, it is a bronzer, but still for a bronzer I would prefer something that is not as warm toned. But for the price per gram, I feel like I would need to be a lot more impressed by this than I actually am. So again, not a bad bronzer, it's just a shade that I'm not really into. We have then arrived at number 5, and this is sort of like the same story as the Rare Beauty one. In place at number 5, I have the Tarte Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer in the shade Seychelles. If you watch my Project Pen videos, you know this is currently in my Project Pen, and you also know that I'm struggling a little bit with reaching for this consistently, which basically has to do with the shade as well. This is a really nice formula. I would say it's a little bit thicker than the Rare Beauty one, but it's also pressed and not a stick, so I do usually pick this up with my brush right away, whereas the Rare Beauty I usually apply to my face right away, so that's already a big difference. I personally think a stick is a little bit more convenient, but I don't mind packaging like this as well. And this is what it looks like. As you can see, it's a pretty tiny container, but it still contains 6 grams of product. So this has just 1 gram less than the Rare Beauty one, which I find kind of interesting because this packaging just looks so small and slim, but it has only 1 gram less of product than the Rare Beauty one, which actually looks pretty big. And the shade of this I do prefer a little bit more than the Rare Beauty, but it's still not my favorite. What I usually do is just like warm this up with my finger a little bit, and then I'm going to give that a swatch. And the bottom one is what that Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer looks like. Now I think the main difference with this is the depth of the product. I feel like the depth of this product is more suitable for light skin tones than the top one. As you can see, the top one is just a lot more pigmented, and I find that sometimes hard to work with my light skin tone. But the bottom one I can totally make work. It's just a little bit more warm toned on my skin than I would like to. I feel like in the summertime it's really pretty to wear like warm tone bronzer. Now that I'm getting like more pale, I feel like this shade just isn't the best option for my skin tone personally. So that is again like the reason why I'm placing this at place number 5. You will see the ones I have at the top are a lot more cool toned than these two. But basically the Tarte retails for 16 euro, which makes it 2 euros and 67 cents per gram, which I think is quite a nice price. But I actually wanted to tell you about the full size of this, because the full size has 16 grams of product for 33 euros, which breaks it down to 2 euros and 6 cents per gram, which is actually the most affordable bronzer from this video. So if you are interested in this product and you think it is a shade that you would like, and you know you're going to use it a ton, then I would recommend the full size of this. It is just the shade that is holding me back just a little bit. We now have arrived at place number 4, and I'm going to cheat a little bit with this because this is technically not a cream bronzer, but I still wanted to include it in this video because I use it as a cream bronzer, but it's actually a cream or liquid contour wand from Tilbury. I wanted to include this because I know it's a super popular product and you guys are probably wondering what I think of it, if I think it is worth the price. Now this is actually my second tube of this. I used up one completely and now this is my second one. I don't use this one as much anymore, but I do really like it. It's a beautiful shade on my skin tone. I just feel like sometimes it can be a little bit too pigmented for my liking, which is why I'm placing it at place number 4. So this is what it looks like. As you can see, in terms of the depth, it's more similar to the Rare Beauty one, which I just find is a little bit too deep for me. This blends out, I wouldn't say like into nothing, but it blends out super effortlessly. So I mean that in a positive way. Like when you take too much of this product, it's still so easy to blend out, like you won't even notice you put too much on. But I feel like it's just really easy that this one has a sponge tip applicator. It makes it really easy to apply. What I usually do is just apply some dots on my face and then just blend it out with either a sponge or a brush. And now that I'm looking at this, I should really reach for this again because the undertone truly is beautiful. It's for me the perfect combination between a bronzer and a contour. Even though this is a contour wand, I feel like I really enjoy it as a bronzer as well, which makes this a super good and versatile product. Now in terms of the price, this one retails for 36 euros and you're getting 12 milliliters of product, which breaks it down to 3 euros per milliliter of product, which makes this quite an expensive product. I do go through this a lot faster than some other cream bronzers because it's also just a bit more liquidy, but I still think that this is such a beautiful product. I really enjoy wearing this and I should definitely reach for this more. In place number 3, we have the Nars cream bronzer in the shade Laguna 1. I've only owned this for like 2 weeks, so I've only tried it like 2 times, so I just can't really say my true thoughts on this product product. So based on my first impression, I'm placing it at place number 3, but it's totally possible that in a while from now I'm ranking it above place number 2 and maybe even like number 1. I really can't say, but this is one that is really surprising me at the moment. This year they've extended the shade range and we now have a Laguna 01, which is deep enough for me. It's, I think, the perfect depth for my liking. It's a beautiful sort of like warm to neutral bronzer cream, but it's like the perfect depth and undertone for my skin tone. I will give it a swatch as well. This feels super creamy, super emollient, so it's really easy to blend out. And as you can see from looking at the swatches, it really is a lot lighter than the rest, but it's, I would say, like the perfect depth for my skin tone. I'm just pretty light in skin tone, so I don't need a super pigmented bronzer. I find this one really easy to work with, and I was scared when I looked at it that it was going to be maybe a little bit too warm, but it's actually not. I find it like a really pretty neutral undertone bronzer. And you'll see in the overlay videos as well how easily this blends out into the skin and how beautiful it looks in terms of the shade and the formula. So this is definitely a new favorite in my collection. I would really recommend this if you have my skin tone and you are looking for like a nice new cream bronzer. For the price, this one retails for 41 euros and it has 19 grams of product, which breaks it down to 2 euros and 16 cents per gram. So it's really like on the more affordable sides of the bronzers that I'm showing today in terms of price per gram, but it is just like a little bit of an investment since you're getting 19 grams. I personally do not need 19 grams of cream bronzer in one product because I already own so many, but if you are someone that only has like 1 or 2 bronzers in their collection, then this might be like a nice investment. We now have 2 bronzers left, and in place number 2 I am placing the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Bronzer in the shade 1 Fair. This is one I featured on my channel quite a bit. It came out this year, I did a review on it, and I really love this one. It's such a pretty bronzer. The formula, I would say, is the least smooth of the bronzer that I'm showing you today. It's just a bit more stiff and it needs a bit more warming up before it blends out really nicely. But why I love this so much is basically because of the shade. Again, I find this shade to be so flattering on my skin tone, and I really enjoy this because it really reminds me of a contour product. So you can see when you like see this product, it just feels a bit more stiff. Once it is on the skin, it's like really easy to blend out. It just feels a little bit more thick. And right there I have swatched the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer at the bottom. I hope you guys can see it like this. I will do a better close-up of the swatches in a little bit. But as you can see, this one is definitely the coolest tone out of all the bronzers I just showed. And I just find this to be such a flattering shade on my skin tone. It really helps give my face a little bit more shape and definition. So I feel like this is an amazing cream bronzer. It's definitely a little bit of an investment. This one retails for 52 euros. You're getting 21 grams of product. So when you break it down, it's 2 euros and 48 cents per gram, which I think is a pretty average amount for a cream bronzer. Like I said, at first the price point does sound a little bit steep, but when you actually break it down, you are getting a lot of product. So that is a Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Cream Bronzer at place number 2. But we have now arrived at place number 1, which I'm placing the Tarte Cream Contour and Powder Bronzer Duo in the shade Statuesque. I think that's how you say it. It's such a difficult name, but this is one that I've added to my collection I think a month or 2 ago, and I love this one so much. I was kind of scared when I ordered this because I know a lot of people said that this looks really warm toned, and to be honest, the bronzer looks warm toned in a pan, but it doesn't look too warm toned on the skin. But this bronzer is just so pretty. I'm just going to give that a swatch, but basically you have this little plastic thing that helps keep the bronzer separate from the cream. This is such an emollient formula. It blends absolutely amazing, and the shade of this is just so beautiful. I feel like now that I'm swatching this, it is like really similar to the Nars one, which I actually have both of these on my face today. On one side I have the Nars, and then on the other one I have the Tarte, and I feel like you wouldn't really be able to tell that I have 2 bronzers on my skin. So in terms of the shade, they're definitely a little bit similar. If you are someone like me who has a light skin tone, you prefer sort of like a neutral toned bronzer, you are really going to enjoy this. Now for the Tarte, this one retails for 39 euros and 50 cents, and you're getting 15.8 grams in total. I'm counting the cream bronzer and the powder bronzer as one because that's also what you're paying for. And that breaks it down to 2 euros and 50 cents per gram, which is pretty similar to the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Bronzer. But this is number 1 because I love this shade, I love the formula, and I just really enjoy wearing this. So here we have a little close close-up of the swatches. So again, we have the Rare Beauty in Happy Soul, we have Tarte Sea Breezy Cream Bronzer in Seychelles, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Contour Wand in Fair Medium, we have the Nars Laguna Bronzing Cream in the shade Laguna 1, we then have Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Cream Bronzer in the Fair 1, and then lastly the Patrick Ta Contour and Bronzer Duo in the shade She's Statuesque. Okay everyone, and this was it for my battle of the cream bronzers. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know what you thought of my ranking and these bronzers in general. Which one are you planning on picking up, or do you maybe already have them in your collection? I would love to know, and if you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so much with my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, I thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you have an amazing day, and I really hope to see you on my next video. Bye!